my Flosstube friends, it's time for a Stitch With Me episode. How is everybody this evening? It is Tuesday, October the 13th, and today is my 40th birthday, and so I thought, what a better day than to do my very first Stitch With Me. So we're going to see how this setup goes. I can't guarantee that it's going to be fantastic, but we're going to do the best we can. I had to decide if you were going to see my stitching or if you were going to see my face. You see my face a lot week to week, so I thought, why not see my stitching? So first thing, if you've been following my updates on Instagram this evening, I'm starting 4 new projects. 2 of them I've showed updates on. This was my 3rd start. And this is, I'm hoping, I cannot actually see what you're seeing, but I did a lot of trial and error. But this is Autumn Royalty by Lindy Stitches. And this is one that I actually purchased and got the project bag and the finishing and the fancy flosses. And it's so fun. And I had a really hard time deciding which one I wanted to start with. But I thought Lord of the Gourds felt the most kind of October-y fall to me. Count of Candy would be like the end of October, Halloween. And then Prince of Pies would be like Thanksgiving. So I'm going to start this one now. I will not get this one finished by Halloween, but I will start this one on Halloween. And I will start this one in November at some point. So I did get a little bit of a start. And like I said, I hope you can see this. But I'm working in the top left on the letter L. So I do intend to put some more time into this over the next couple of days. So my 4th and final actual birthday start is Heartstring Samplery, What a Time to Be Alive. And this is a chart that I saw and knew I had to have. And it is from Acorns and Threads. It is exclusive to them. As far as I know, they still have it. It is, the model was stitched monochromatic, however it has some color options. I have chosen to do mine monochromatic. I am doing it on this beautiful piece of Dying for Cross Stitch 28 count regular Lugana, in this really pretty kind of dark mauve color with some like raspberry tones in it. And then I am doing it with this Victorian Motto thread called Silver Linings. I thought, you know what, we need to see the silver lining during this time, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be doing a center start on this, which is going to end up being the word alive. And I thought it might be fun to not just chat about like what's been going on with me, but to also, you know, kind of open up to some question and answer. So first, I thought I might share kind of how today has been going so far. Like I said, this is my 40th birthday. Thank you to all of you who wished me a very happy birthday. It meant a lot. I've gotten a ton of text messages from friends and family. I've gotten folks wishing me happy birthday on my Facebook, on Instagram, through my the stories, but then also through like private message. And so yeah, I one thing you might be noticing is I am going ahead and doing a loop start, even though this is a variegated floss. It is a more tonal variegated. I am a licker, so I did just lick my thread. So if that just thoroughly grosses you out, I do apologize. I learned from my mama. And of course now I can't get this threaded, of course. And she's a licker too. So I'm going to try to keep this in frame as best I can. So let's see. I'm going to go over and up. So anywho, today, what has gone on? So last night, Joy-filled little one, since we didn't have school today, we did not have school and work. We were supposed to have a staff development day. However, our head of school said, you know, y'all have worked so hard within these first few weeks. I need a little bit more light. It's kind of hard to see, so I apologize. I'm going to get myself situated here, hopefully fairly soon. My old school light. There we go. He said, y'all have just done such a fantastic job with the start of the school year. Why don't you, instead of having a professional development day, let's give you a day off. I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And we had already, they had already given us Monday off. Friday, actually Thursday was the end of our quarter. And Friday was parent-teacher conference day. And so, yeah, we had like, Joyfield Little One had like a 5-day weekend. I had a 4-day weekend. It was fantastic. Although it kind of made me like not get the laundry done on Sunday like I normally would. So I kind of paid the price for that and was still doing some laundry today on my birthday. But you know what? My mama's work is never done. Anyway, so this morning she came home, and when I went out to the car to get her, they had little confetti poppers and they popped them at me, and that was super fun, and it kind of surprised me. And then we just kind of hung around. We ended up going and kind of doing the preliminary first steps on looking at a possible new car for me. I drive a rather large vehicle. I drive a Chevy Tahoe. And while I love it, it's just too big. So we're looking at some other Chevys. We went and looked at the Kia Telluride. But anyway, so we did the preliminary. I really like the Chevy Blazer, which is a fairly new model style. My husband works for General Motors, so he would rather us stay in a car that we can get the discount on. Yeah, so who knows? I mean, I'm in a car that I love. It's, we're not upside down on it at all. In fact, the discount usually means that we leave the lot with equity, which is fantastic. So yeah, anyway, that was today. And then tomorrow we've got school as usual. So I don't know how long this video will be. And yeah, one thing that's kind of cool that I'm excited about is, this is kind of knitting related. This weekend, I believe, is traditionally Rhinebeck weekend, which is the New York Woolen Fiber Festival. And typically, hold on one second. I want to be able to go the other way. And yes, I am going to carry my floss. You're going to see me commit a few stitchy sins, so to speak. And but yeah, as you can see, this is a slightly variegated floss, but I am choosing to sometimes do full stitches, you know, cross the stitch completely, and sometimes I'm kind of going down and back. It just depends on how I decide to stitch the chart and where I'm trying to go. Like I just finished the letter A of Alive. It's going to be very muted, but I kind of like that, and that is what the original chart is kind of like, is a little more muted, so I'm not disliking it. Okay, so before I start on my next letter, let's get to some questioning. Oh, sorry. Okay, I got off track. So traditionally New York Fiber Fest, and obviously with COVID, they are not choosing to do that festival. And one of the sellers on Etsy dyes beautiful fabrics, yarns, Molly Klein Designs, and she has sweet tea yarns. And I became familiar with sweet tea yarns through a knitter who was tea stashing on Instagram. And I purchased one of the yarns, and I had to have it because it was called Whack at Weezer. And if you're not familiar with awesome 80s movies, which I know this one is kind of one of the sadder ones that a lot of people, you know, you either love it or you just cannot watch it. But while the end makes me sob hysterically, it's such a good movie. And a lot of the big reasons why is I absolutely adore anything with Dolly Parton in it, and she's in it. And then also Shirley MacLaine, Olympia Dukakis. It's got Julia Roberts, but it's still Magnolias. But Weezer is Shirley MacLaine's character, and she's hysterical. And towards the end at Shelby's, I am spoiling if you've not seen Steel Magnolias, at Shelby's funeral, like the after party, Olympia Dukakis is trying to like lighten the mood, and she says, "Come on, Malin, why don't you take a whack at Weezer? Just whack at Weezer." And so it's a beautiful yarn. Well, anywho, I was looking in her shop just to see what she had, and she had some little fall themed boxes she has with mini skeins. She had a Hocus Pocus one, and I went ahead and got that, and it comes I think with 5 or 6 mini skeins. And then she has one that's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, also another like mini skein box. Well, she also had one that was like what was it called? Wishing for Rhinebeck. Well, that got my interest peaked, and so I went searching what's Rhinebeck, and come to find out it's this very, very large fiber festival in upstate New York, and it's got workshops and vendors and all sorts of amazing stuff. Well, they've decided to do it completely like online instead, which I think is awesome. And I was looking through some of the workshops that are very reasonably priced. And there was one that's on Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. And it is basic knit fixes. And so it kind of, the description of the class is, so you've learned how to knit and purl, you've started trucking along, and you make a mistake and you don't know how to fix it. That is something I am not very good at. I cannot really even tink back correctly. I typically, if I'm too far into a project, I will just try to make it work. But if I'm not too far in, I will just rip it all out and start over. And I've been knitting. I learned to knit when I was 23, but that was one thing in my basic class that I didn't learn, is how to read my knitting, read my stitches, and know how to fix said stitches, especially when they go awry. So I went ahead and signed up for it. I think it was like $40, which is very reasonable for a 2-hour class. And it's limited into how many people can participate, and it's via Zoom. And so I signed up for it, and I roped in Erin 2 Martini Stitcher. And actually, I believe she's starting this today for my birthday, because she had this chart that she had purchased from Acorns and Threads. Anywho, so that's coming on Saturday, and I'm super excited about it. I have to knit up a swatch so that I can have something to practice on. So that will be something that I need to get done this week. All right, so I think we should maybe go into some Q&A. And I truly hope this is still recording, but I couldn't tell you if it was or not, so I could just seriously be talking just to myself. But we'll just hope and pray that it's going well on the other side of the camera. So let me get to a kind of stopping point. I was watching Amy Creativity by Gidge, and she was doing a stitch with me, and she's like, okay, I can't count, like, because I know that it'll mess people up if I count. So I'm trying not to count, because I don't want to mess anybody up in case you're stitching along with me. I know a lot of you have mentioned that you stitch along with my Friday night floss tubes, and actually there was a suggestion that I please hold the chart up longer, because by the time they look up from their stitching, I've put the chart down. So I thought, okay, that's not a problem. That is a great constructive feedback that I love. All right, so, oh, and for Robin, I doubt she'll watch this, but Lady Robin's She always wants to know what's on my shirt. It says, "You are known, loved, worthy, chosen, and enough." And I purchased this shirt from a company, and I saw it through a Facebook ad. And you know, Facebook ads can be hit or miss. So I was pleasantly surprised when it not only arrived, it arrived quickly, and it's a fantastic quality shirt, and that is in the wrong hole. And it's by a company called Live in Faith, and I have like 3 of them by their company, and they were running a clearance sale. So they're kind of one of those company that has kind of somewhat, in my opinion, expensive shirts. You know, like 20 some odd dollars for a t-shirt, which I think, you know, the art alone is worth it. But budget being what it is, and me loving printed shirts, I can't buy them all at that price. So when I saw, oh, it's 60% off and they're $9.98, I was like, sold. So I bought, I think, 3 of them. And like I said, they came fairly quickly. They're a good quality, and so I would recommend them. Live in Faith. This video will not have show notes. Just letting you know. And I'm hoping to make this a more regular thing, like maybe once a month. I know in my last Flosstube I talked a little bit about the join button. And kind of chatting with my husband about what it was and all of that. He said, okay, one thing, don't make this, he didn't want to say don't make promises you can't keep, but he said, I love the idea of your channel being ad-free, and I agree with that. And so starting with this video, I am going to attempt to, I'm going to attempt to, it doesn't take anything but just like one hot second. I gotta bring this closer to my face real quick. I think I went through the wrong hole. I did. I kind of have this somewhat crooked in my Q-snap. And so, there we go. He said, you know, do the things you want to do on your channel, but make them available to everybody. And if you want to go ad-free, go ad-free. Especially right now, because I did remove all mid-roll ads because somebody shared with me just how appalling it was how many, 1, they were putting in, but 2, the content of them. And I was not pleased with that. So, yeah. All right. Let's get to some question and answer. So let me go over to, actually I have some of them from the first Instagram post. All right, so Stitch in 304, that is a Patience. Hello, Patience. Said, would you ever consider doing a knitting 101 for newbies that just can't get it right? And then she said, happy birthday. Here's the thing. I am not an expert knitter by any stretch of the imagination. I think it is fantastic that y'all see me as this, like, person who knows so much about like knitting and stitching and all this and that and the other. I fake it till I make it, friends. And I will tell you, I am like everybody else in that I go and find a YouTube video to help me with stitches that are new or techniques that are new. And there are some fantastic ones out there. I will tell you, Think Pink Knits is fantastic. But I literally, so one of my newer projects, it has a KYOK, which is a knit yarn over knit. And I literally went to YouTube and went knit yarn I did the KYOK. And I watched like 3 or 4 videos, and I found one really good tutorial. And what I did, because I do have several knitting whips, so I kind of will forget in between. Yeah, I kind of just add that to my watch later, and when I get back to that project and I need to do that stitch again, if I don't remember, I just watch it again. So there's some great tutorials out there. I would be happy to do a kind of basics of knitting in the sense of what my favorites are, like in terms of what my needles are. But like, and you know, a basic knit stitch, a basic purl stitch, some of my favorite yarn companies, like things like that, and different types of yarn. But that's about as in-depth as I think I am qualified. So patience, I'll get with you and I'll answer any questions that you have. Okay, so next, if I don't get moving a little bit, this is going to be a long video. All right, do I have any pets? Yes, we have a dog, Potter. In my earlier videos, you could distinctly hear Potter, who is a Cavalier King Charles. He is a tricolor, which means he is black, white, and tan. He is named Potter because he has a white patch on his back that looks like a lightning bolt. And we have had him since he was 3 months old, and he will be 5 in December on the 23rd. He he came from a litter of Oops. And why I say oops is that it was from a friend of ours who had, at one point, had her 2 Cavaliers. They had a litter, and before they could have Mama taken care of, so she would not have any more litters, she had another litter. And so Potter was kind of the last one left, and they were even thinking they might keep him for themselves. And at the time, my daughter had just turned 4. And like, my husband had 2 dachshunds, Eddie and Evie, when we met. I had dogs growing up. We cannot have cats. My husband and I are both allergic. This is much to Joy-filled little one's dismay because she loves cats. Some of her friends have cats, and she's just like, I want a cat. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, honey. I like to breathe through my nose. And there's nothing that says that actually she's not mildly allergic to them either. With both parents being allergic, it is possible she has an allergy. She's just not around them enough to know. Anyway, so we have Potter, and then we have 2 betta fish. One is Joy-filled Little Ones. Hers is named Glow, and it has this beautiful iridescent tail. And then I have one that was my classroom pet that came home over Christmas break last year and did not go back because I just kept saying, I'm going to take it back, I'm going to take it back. Well, then Corona happened, and so now it is just going to stay at home for the time being because we don't know week to week what that's going to look like. So far, so good. We just finished our first quarter, all of in-person learning, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can continue. Okay, so anyway, and then I have 1 hermit crab. I had 2 for my classroom, Shelby and Sheldon. They were also victims of starting as classroom pets and then making it home and never making it back. And Shelby, unfortunately, went to hermit crab heaven. She left her shell, we think, at night one night and did not make it to the new shell. And so, yes, she went to heaven. And so, yeah, 2 fish, 1 hermit crab, and a dog. Okay, so next question. Stitching Chill Pill says, Happy B-Day, 1980 baby. My 40th was in March. Stitching Chill Pill, happy belated birthday back in March. We're both quarantine birthdays. I find it odd that, like, the beginnings of quarantine mean 40. Like, and all these people have turned 40 this year in quarantine. We're clearly not in quarantine right now, but we're still in kind of that state of whatever this is. So anyway, yes, I am a 1980 baby. I was born in October, obviously, of 1980. I was born at 12:33 a.m., so my birthday is still going strong. So yes, let's see. Next question. Georgia Girl Stitching, hello Megan, says, if you are doing personal questions, how did you meet your husband? I will absolutely answer how I met my husband. So my husband, Mr. Joyfield Stitcher, he has a name. I suppose I can share his name. His name is Tim. Let's see. We met in person on September 17th of 2010. So we just had our kind of 10-year meeting anniversary. I say in person because we actually met on the internet. He was living in the Houston area at the time, and I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at the time. I was teaching school. I was 29. I had not yet turned 30. He was 36 at the time, so he's a little bit older. And we chatted on the phone for a good long time and through messaging and things like that. And he said, well, you know, maybe we should meet in person. And I said, okay. And he said, well, I'll come up there one weekend and I'll get a hotel room and stay, and I'll come in on a Friday, and then we can go to dinner, and if it just doesn't work out, then I can go back home on Saturday, or we'll just take it from there. And so he says he knew we were meant to be when I pulled up in front of the hotel and didn't just peel out, which I think is funny. But we ended up going to dinner, and then after dinner, which was wonderful, we went to a movie, and the rest is history. So we actually, you know, when you know, you know. And that's kind of how we felt about it. We had prayed a lot about it. We're both Christian. And we got engaged right after my 30th birthday. So like a month and a half. And then we got married the following June. So this coming June, on the 11th, we will have our 10-year anniversary. I am getting awfully close to this edge of the key snap, but I really want to put in this other letter over here. So I think I might move it. So yeah, that's how I met my husband. Let's see. If I could only stitch one designer for an entire year, which would you choose? And this is April Heirlooms. Oh my gosh, April, you're killing me with this question. But you might already know the answer, and some of y'all that have been with me for a while would probably already know that the answer is going to be Paulette Stewart of Plum Street Samplers. Like, love Heartstring, love Beth Twist, but if I had to only pick one, which, man, you'd have to really tie my hands behind my back and, like, tell me for sure this is the only, I would have to say Paulette of Plum Street Samplers. However, I will say this. That would be hard fought. You would have to pull every other pattern because I'm like in a really big right now Heart and Hand phase and Bent Creek, and yeah, that would be tough. Okay, so good thing I don't have to do that. Grammy Vin says, no question, just want to say you were awesome. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. RMW Gersh says, that's Mandy. What can your hobby do for you that will instantly put you in a good mood? Mine is doing the dishes. What is something that I do? I think this is what she's asking. What is something else that I do other than my hobby that will instantly put me in a good mood? I don't know that it's a chore, so to speak. I would say reading my daughter a story, or just reading in general, but for sure reading my daughter a story. Listening to her, like, connect to books. We've been reading chapter books at night for years already. But just listening to her go, oh my goodness, like, how could he treat her like that? And blah, 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 blah. It's pretty cool to watch her connect. Okay, so this is Curly Girl Stitcher. Tell me about your fabulous charm bracelet. Well, okay, so I actually have two. I have two charm bracelets. They are both James Avery, sterling silver. So this one right here is more recent. Joy-Filled Little One got this for me for Mother's Day, I think 2 years ago. And she picked out the charms on this one. So there's the peace dove, the angel wings. And then I think there's another one that needs to go on here, which is to the moon and back. Okay, so then this one I have had, and I am really hoping this is in frame. This is another James Avery one. And this one I have had since like literally right after Joy-Filled Little One was born. And so it's got, and kind of this one I've added charms, or my mom will take her at Christmas or around Mother's Day to get a charm. And that's part of my gift. And it has kind of some of her favorite things. So she's been into pandas recently. So I have a panda one. She's consistently been obsessed with strawberries since birth. And you can see this one's older because like the little speckles of the strawberry have started to wear off. I have a butterfly with a cross that she loved. Mommy was one of the first ones that was on the charm bracelet. Love is another one that she picked for me. This is actually, and it's rubbed flat now, but at her, let's see, I think it was first Christmas, my mom had found a company that would do like an imprint charm. So this was the imprint of her first finger, but as you can see, it's rubbed flat, but I know what it is. She has since like toddlerhood been obsessed with alligators, and so I have an alligator charm. This is her initials, and on the back is her birth information. My husband gave me this one. I've always loved photography, and he found this really cool one that's actually got the old school camera with the film canister attached. This is her baptismal shell, and it had her baptism tape, but it's worn off. And then the butterfly, and then there's a V. I had another V that was the like a real scripty one, but it like kept getting hooked on everything. So she took my bracelet and replaced it with this one, and then a turquoise B because I love turquoise, a schoolhouse because I'm a teacher. Oh, there's the moon and back. And so those are my charm bracelets from James Avery, and I wear them all the time and never take them off. Okay, so let's see. I think there's a few more. Let's see. Well, I can't see. Oh, who is my favorite designer? Again, I'm not one to really play favorites, so to speak. I would say, well, I mean, I love Paulette Stewart of Plum Street Samplers. I love Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. I love Cecilia Turner of Heart and Hand. I love the ladies of Bent Creek. I love Kathy Haberman of Hands On Design. I love Teresa Kogut and all of her work. I mean, I love her, all of her art. It's just incredible. Yeah. So I have a lot of favorite designers. There's no one that just, I mean, I will say this, and I have said this time and time again, that there's very little that Paulette could put out that I would not want to own. But I can't live long enough to stitch all of her charts. I do like the fact that I don't feel compelled to immediately purchase every single one, because a lot of her charts are still out from years gone by. Whereas, you know, if you're kind of a Blackbird Designs lover, you buy it when you see it. And I do have some Blackbird designs that I like and are either currently started or are planned to stitch, and those are the Garden Club series, which I have, that was a Mania start. And then I have some of the little stockings, the monthly stocking patterns. When they did a re-release of those, I did purchase a few of them. I did not buy them all. I restrained myself. And so yeah, those are some of my favorite designers. All right, so now I need to go in actually to Instagram and see sorry, I was reading a message. I love y'all posting that you are doing awesome things. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's see. I need to go find. Here we go. Questions. So let's see. all three of these are from Kimberly's Stitching. And Kimberly's Stitching is all about the Q-snaps tonight. And you can see I am stitching on a Q-snap. This is my Frankenstein size Q-snap. I prefer rectangle to square. And I know some of y'all have said, I didn't even think to do that. I actually saw it from other floss tubers. They were doing an 8x11 because, you know, I guess, heck, you can do an 11x17. So why not an 8x11? And then I thought, why can't I do a 6x8? So I stitch a lot on this size, even if it's a larger project. That's why the grime guards are awesome. This is a Garon grime guard, and I use an 8x8 on my 6x8 Q-snap. I also do like an 8x11 size. I very rarely go any larger than that. I have a Lowry stand. I just don't use it. I never could get the knack of it. At the time, it worked well for stitching on our living room couch. However, my awesome stitchy chair, which some of y'all have asked about my stitchy chair that I film in, the problem with that is it has a circular base because it's a swivel rocker glider. And so the base of the Lowry would not allow it to get close enough for the arm to come across for my stitching to actually reach me. And this was at the time that you couldn't find long arm bars anywhere. Well, I asked Mr. Joyfield, because he's clever and crafty, hey, why can't you just get me a, do you think you could do something about this? He goes, oh yeah, I got a tool that could do blah, blah, blah. That's his MO. I got a tool for that. And the problem is he forgot about it. He gets busy. So yeah, I can't really go bigger because I don't really have a way to manage it. I am a one-handed-ish stitcher. You will notice I am moving my hand back and front, but I do a lot of manipulating back here in the back, like pulling the floss taut, keeping it straight, keeping it from knotting, etc., etc. I have the word alive now. Yay. But anyway, she has some questions about Q-snaps. She says, do you feel like Q-snaps squish your stitches? Well, that would assume that I have enough stitches on any project to be squished. All joking aside, I do have some projects where the stitches have to go under the Q-snap, and honestly, no. And if it does, I have noticed that when I would press it out from the back with the cloth and a towel underneath, it plumps back up those stitches. So maybe I'm just not as a perfectionist in that respect, that I'm really paying a whole lot of attention to my stitches getting squished. I do know that when my Q-snap things start to get a little loose, I'll take a bit of some quilt batting and put it in between. I think that could be a way. But you'll also notice on this that one of the things I do is to keep myself from having a ton of fabric on the back, I fold it up and over. So if there are stitches in here, it will get trapped up in there. So maybe that cushions it a little bit. I'm not sure. Do I take my Q-snaps off each night? Well, lately I've only been working on a project like for one day. When I used to do, and I'm going to get back into this starting next week, picking a big old project of the week, that stays on a dedicated Q-snap. So no, I don't take those off each night. I have projects that have been on a Q-snap in a bag for I don't know how long. Again, an iron works wonders on some of these. I also stitch on Ada and Lugana primarily. I do have some linen, and I've noticed that they are a little more resilient, but I will say that a Q-snap does not manipulate and move and crunch and squish the fabric as much as, say, a hoop does, which is where I started. When I started stitching, I was a hoop stitcher. So no, I do not. I have a ton of Q-snaps, and I have some that live on their Q-snaps, and I have some that I have a bucket of Q-snaps, and I'll just switch them out. And I usually have one in my stitchy bag. I have one sitting next to me, and when I pull a project out, there you go. which does it drive you nuts moving Q-snaps from project to project? Not really. Now tonight, because I was working on 2 different things, I have 2 different Q-snaps, both 6x8. You'll notice I'm stitching this one horizontally and this one vertically. There is no real rhyme or reason. And so I guess I've just gotten to the point where that just doesn't bother me. But I can see where if you only have 1 or 2, that being frustrating. But it's one of those things that I have plenty of pieces and I can go find, I'm looking at my project bags right now, and I could go probably pull 2 or 3 out and have more Q-snaps. So I guess that just doesn't really bother me so much. I'm looking to see if I have any other questions. It does not look like there's any more. Let's see if there were any from like the last video. Y'all are so nice in your comments. Thank you so much. Yeah, that whole thing of the toque versus toque. Oh, ding dong. That's what I want to call myself. Did y'all watch Kindred Stitcher's video from like a couple of weeks ago? She sang my intro and I like felt so special. And I am sorry it's an earworm. I will agree it is. It's really hard for me not to sing it. Oh my goodness. I'm not seeing any questions. Oh my gosh, y'all are so sweet. Oh, there was a couple about asking about my knitting bags. If there was a pattern I followed. Yeah, no, there was not. I simply figured it out, and I'm sure, again, YouTube, plethora of information. I feel certain there is some great drawstring bag tutorial out there. I feel certain there is. But I don't know. Well, I think I've reached a point. I stitched the word alive. I probably need to check and make sure because obviously I was not counting out loud because I was being aware of people counting at home. And I really want to thank you for joining me for a fun little stitch with me, start with me. And I pray that you have a wonderful rest of the week ahead. I will see you on Friday for my regular Fun Friday Flosstube weekly update. And I hope you have some happy stitching and you enjoyed this stitch with me. And I hope when I go to stop this and look at it, that actually my stitching is in frame. If not, you're going to hear my voice and see parts of me, and that will just be okay. And we'll go from there. My ultimate goal would be to figure out how to do a 2-ish camera setup-y system where I can do a camera in camera, but that's an editing trick that I am not sure that I know how to master. So we will for now do this. Maybe next time we do a stitch with me, we'll film from the front face. We'll see. But like I said, I thought you'd had enough of my face for today. So with that, I will bid you so long. Stitch well. I'll see you soon, my friends. Goodbye. Goodbye. And thank you again for all your birthday wishes today. Bye.